Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Fiction, presented by Colorful Selection. I want to start off by saying thank you for listening to us so far and being patient with us while we took a break. And, just being around in general. And without further ado, let's get into the story. I awoke from my sleep from the vibration of my bones. Not my body, just my bones. Like each one of them were alive and separate. All I saw when I woke was a bright light coming through my window. I glanced at my phone and it was only 2 in the morning. How is it daylight when it's only 2 a.m., I thought. I then heard a low-pitched noise like a siren. Then it started getting louder. The pitch stayed the same, but the noise got louder and louder. I cupped my hands over my ears and curled up in my bed in a tight ball, squeezing my eyes closed. I felt it in my bones again, and then in my chest. Then it stopped. I stopped shaking and removed my hands from my head and opened my eyes. The light was gone too. I didn't know whether to sit still and wait or run out the front door to my car. I chose neither. I got up out of my bed and slowly walked around it and started towards my bedroom window. The curtain was open about a foot and I could see how black it was out there. Like something was covering the moonlight. As I got closer, I couldn't hear anything. No outside noise at all. Almost like the wind and everything just stopped. I reached up to pull the curtains open more. As soon as I touched it with my fingertips, the light shined back through the window and the sound came back louder than ever, shattering the glass, leaving no barrier between me and whatever was out there. I stumbled back and fell with my back hitting the side of my bed as I put my hands up to cover my eyes from the beaming light. Then it was there, though only one hand reaching in and gripping the window, pulling itself forward. So slow and smooth, making no noise except for the shards of glass in the window pane crackling and snapping off, falling to the floor. But its face never came in sight. Not long after, the other hand came into sight, lazily pointing at me. Before I noticed, my body was slowly rising off the floor until my feet were no longer touching. Then my body stiffened, forcefully, and I couldn't stop it. I began floating towards the creature. My eyes started to ache and turn white, blinding me like it didn't want me to look at it. The closer I got, the more my ears started to deafen, almost like a low vibration was all I could hear after. Finally, I was right up on it. The pointed finger lightly touched my forehead, holding itself there. Then I suddenly felt a pressure at the base of my spine form. It felt like a tiny air bubble appearing, then slowly started running up the length of my spine. I could feel tiny pinches in my back. It seemed to be slowly severing each nerve located along my back before finally reaching the back of my head where my spine connected. My eyes started to bleed slightly as I felt the tension in the back of my head grow more intense. Then suddenly, I felt a pop. The sound of the inside of my head bursting right before my lifeless body was dropped to the floor, folding up and twisting like a rag doll. All that was left was glass covering the floor beneath the window and the slight howl of the wind coming through. My body just lied there, slowly growing cold, waiting to be found. This story was by far my favorite to read because it just, I don't know, it kept the eerie feeling throughout it. And even though it's a pretty short one, I found it like extremely great. The story is called Invasion, and it's written by our very own Bug Boy. So Dakota, this was a great pleasure to read, and I hope to hear more from you. And with that, I'll go ahead and end it for today. And as always, stay spooky.